Inviting Rachel back to my apartment should not have presented a dilemma. She was dressed as a polygamist's wife. There aren't a lot of girls who can look sexy in a knee-length homespun shift and a headscarf, but she pulled it off, thanks to enormous blue-green eyes and the sort of body you see only on 24-year-olds who spend their abundant free time in dance class. On the big love scale, she was more Jennifer Godwin than 𝐂𝐓𝐇. I'd recently cannonballed back into the dating pool after divorce, and even though I'm only 33, I'd been off playing house for the part of young adulthood, where you learn how to approach strange women at parties, and it showed in my chatting app technique. Note to fellow divorcés. Even on Purim, did you go to a Jewish summer camp? Falls pretty flat. Somehow, though, I managed to get Rachel's number and even a kiss goodnight. The doubt started when I bragged to my pal Adam about my debut as a pickup artist. You're not actually going to go out with a girl who lives in Bushwick, are you? He scoffed. Are you trying to get bedbugs? Rachel, not her real name by the way, didn't just live in Bushwick, the neighborhood that, as the locale of choice for Brooklyn's young, artsy and penniless, is ground zero for New York's burgeoning bedbug epidemic. She also happened to rent an airless cubbyhole in one of the converted warehouse loft buildings whose low rents and higher turnover rate make them a haven for parasites of all sorts, especially human couch surfers and the blood-sucking Chemix lectularius that feeds on them. That's not even the worst of it. In the course of getting to know each other, Rachel told me that to supplement her bohemian income, she sometimes picked up discarded books and other items off the sidewalk and brought them home to sell at flea markets later. Are you trying to get bedbugs? I might have asked her. If I hadn't been so distracted by her gorgeousness. Did I mention she was gorgeous? Seriously, would anyone but a horny moron risk months of discomfort, shame, and expensive treatments for a night or two of pleasure? Then again, it's not like I hadn't made precisely that wager before. But last time I'd been single, and it was in a year starting with one, the danger hadn't so much been literal critters as very different kinds of bugs. Herpes, HPV, chlamydia, kinds of sexually transmitted diseases that still hang with about 1 in 5 Americans, but whose stigma has oddly abated. For single men and women these days, the threat of bedbugs has supplanted even the nastiest STD as the lurking fear that keeps us up at night. And unfortunately, even barricaded in our own clean apartments, where we've chosen to tuck in with only Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert to keep us warm. Fear bedbugs more than anything else on the face of the earth, says Rebecca, a 24-year-old who works in fashion and lives in the Williamsburg section of Brooklyn. I always ask a guy, no matter how drunk I am, and check his arms and legs for bites. Turn down sex or blue ball a guy if I'm the least bit concerned. But as with STDs, asking doesn't do you much good if your partner isn't prepared to be honest. Warren, a newspaper editor from New Jersey, successfully battled an infestation not too long ago. I went criminally insane, and thus got no action whatsoever during that valet in my life, she recalls. But now I deny that I've ever had that, particularly to anyone I'm interested in. And while some men might call it deception, the ladies may simply be evening out the scales. For every story you hear about a woman hushing up her bedbug problem, there are 4 about a guy who had an infestation and didn't know it, until the girl he brought home woke up covered in red welts. Blame biology. Men's skin appears to be somewhat less reactive to the proteins in the bedbug saliva, and it seems to me that the insects also show a marked preference for feeding on female hosts, given the choice. Isn't that who you'd bite? Not that makes us single guys any less paranoid. If anything, thought of harboring a mattress full of the little brown buggers without realizing it is all the more skin crawling. But it's not like there is a reasonable, foolproof way for men to avoid the threat of an infestation. He could, I suppose, emulate my friend David, who commanded his then-girlfriend to disrobe and throw her clothes in the wash before he'd consent to touch her. You could follow the lead of my co-worker Greg, who swears he won't date anyone with a Brooklyn address anymore, has taken to conducting his hookups in public restrooms to be on the safe side. You could buy your own bedbug sniffing beagle. You could move to Antarctica. I considered all these options and ultimately hit on a better one. Chilling the F out, keeping perspective, and remembering that whether it's bedbugs, STDs, bunny boiling, psychos, or plain old heartbreak, romance is going to knock you on your ass now and then, but the rewards are worth it. I'd been out for a dating game for a long time, not so long that I didn't realize asking a woman to sterilize her clothes in the freezer would only guarantee that I'd never see her naked, and that was not an option. So, yes, I invited Rachel over, and I went over to her place in Bushwick, and we spent many a night heating the linens in a way that had nothing to do with pest control. And while the bugs may eventually make their way into my bed, up the double-sided tape-wrapped legs, past the vinyl-encased box spring and mattress, beneath the bedbug-proof duvet at least, I hope they won't find me there alone.